everybody. Welcome to episode 48 of the Town Social, and how nice it is to be joining you after 3 points away at Watford. Done something that Gaz always enjoys doing on a Saturday. Came from behind for the first time away this season. And to be honest, oh God, I mean, Watford are a bit of a joke sometimes, aren't they? But I tell you what, to come from behind, away from home, first game for Breitenreiter, absolutely brilliant result. And with the results going elsewhere, much needed. Dennis the Menace struck for them to put them 1-0 up after some great work from Asprilla down the right-hand side, some questionable defence from young Brody Spencer. But to be fair, it's a great finish. And then the never mind Dennis the Menace, so it was a return of old Pieface, wasn't it? Off the bench, Tom Edwards on 68 minutes, and the fans greeted with understandable admiration and from the town fans. And I saw a tweet just as it was announced that I want to kill myself, which wins the award for one of the most extreme fan reactions to a sub I've ever seen in my life. But to be fair to the bloke, after that horror show at Leeds, he comes up with the assist. And I mean, let's be honest, we've seen more of Early's Comet than we have Danny Ward. But the bloke, the one thing you guarantee is that he scores goals against Watford. And a brace for Danny Ward, 2 brilliantly taken goals, great ball in from Nakayama for the first, and a bullet header into the bottom corner. And then, say, Tom Edwards was a really good assist across and a really clever clinical finish. The more you see it, the more I admire it, to be fair. And in all honesty, even with going a goal down, to me, I always thought we were going to get something from the game. And it was really refreshing to see a manager make changes in game. Town on the front foot, aggressive, going for it, not giving them time to play, because they do have good players, Watford. They might not be a great team, I would argue, but they do have really good players on the ball, and we just didn't allow them to play. We got the result. Amazing stuff, guys. How did you take to it anyway? How did you think?
I like going to Watford anyway. I think we enjoyed the party in the town, had a beer, had a bit of something to eat, and then we walked up to the ground, and the atmosphere was good. Obviously, it was pay on the day for town fans, which helps. So I think that helped fill the away, and the away end seemed really full, actually. I was more full than I expected. I guess with it being Breitenreiter's first game, there were a few people wanting to see it. But I enjoy the game, and I do wish we could play them every week, because we do seem to be able to turn it on against Watford, don't we? I think that when the team was announced, all those amateur managers were questioning what the hell is Hogg doing in that team. I think most of us had it down as a 4-3-3, but then of course it was a 3-4-1-2. I think it was. I'm not entirely sure, because the midfield five were all over the shop. It was quite effective as well. We were pressing high. I think that's what that shape enabled us to do. And we took a bit of control of the game to start with. Della had a really good chance where they had sloppy pass across the middle, and he got in, and there was a massive deflection on his shot, which from where we were stood, it looked like it was going to backspin into the net, but it somehow bounced wide. So, I thought, well, that's a good start. And then Della got another chance where he did the defender. Karoma had a chance. Rodoni had a couple, and into Rodoni style, they were like P-rollers. But, we were causing them problems, which was really good. And I'm with you, Nick, and I'm always impressed by individuals at Watford, but not particularly by them as a team. And you're talking about decisive subs, you have to give Ishmael his due. He proper took 2 off onto. Then I don't know if you were at the game or you saw it, but the number 11 who he substituted after 25 minutes, he went absolutely bananas and being substituted. This play, he was not happy. Stormed straight off down the. I bet he was in his car 5 minutes later on his way home. He was that mad. But in fairness, actually, it was quite for Watford. It turned the tide. They brought on number 16, whose name I can't pronounce, and of course ex-Town player Tom Hinton. They slowly changed the flow in that first half, I thought. And actually, I thought Watford probably finished the stronger. Ince had a really good chance, which a save from Nichols, which actually palmed right back into the middle of the goal, by the way. And if it wasn't for Pearce, I don't know. We thought it was going where we were sort of like it were rocketing into the top corner, but he somehow shinned it wide, didn't he? So, I thought at the end of the first half they come into the game a bit, and then the second half certainly felt tighter. Rodoni had a decent chance, but then they scored, and I'm with you, Nick. I thought it was a really poor defending. Brody coped really well with that Asprilla all afternoon. and he got a bit of space and he slowed it down. And if you watch the replay, Brody got his body across him, and I think he thought he was just going to pull the ball away. But the bloke was just too good for him. Let's be honest. That Asprilla is real quality, and he got away. And then, a great first touch and a brilliant finish on it. And then we seemed to go to bits for a little bit. They had two big chances. That big donkey up front headed it wide when he should have scored. Then Ince had one that he dragged just wide. But I think then when we brought the subs on, when Ward and Wiles came on, that just seemed to steady us down a little bit. And I think another thing that you might not have seen if you were watching it on telly was the wider centre half started to push on a bit, and that was under instruction from Breitenreiter. So when we were getting throw-ins in their half, it wasn't the wing-backs taking the throw-ins. You had Utah and you had Pearson coming up to take the throw-ins to try and compress the play into their half, and that's how Utah got the space. And it was a brilliant ball, and to be honest, he couldn't miss, couldn't Wardy? It was a brilliant header, but he would have done all missing. And then, as you say, he brought on Tom Edwards. I mean, there were some numpties behind me booing when he brought him on, which, yeah, like you say, that after his last outing, nobody's going to be roundly applauding him. But actually, do you know what? I thought he did all right. I thought he showed that side up, and actually, the cross for the winner was a real good ball. He just shifted it half a yard and put a beauty little low cross in. And Ward's movement for the goal and the flick was absolutely brilliant. And I think after that, really, Watford huffed and puffed, but they never really looked like they were going to win the game because they're not a team, are they, as you say? But the elephant is those subs. There's not. I don't care what anybody says. There is not a Town fan that would have brought Ward and Edwards on in that game at that position. I don't care what anybody says. So you have to be Breitenreiter the due for that, don't you? So it was an happy day, and I enjoyed my journey back up the M1. I had some really nice pasta at the services. So all in all, it was a lovely day.
I'm grateful to get that update, guys. That's
my pleasure.
Yeah. I didn't see any of it. I've only seen the highlights because I was getting ready to go and see the legend that is Rick Astley at the First Director in last night. And the number of people that are attending Rick Astley concerts on crutches these days is just amazing. Honestly, his audience is aging like me, and loads of people wobbling around on crutches. That was probably one of the highlights of it. I think from what I saw, I'm not your tactical guy. I'm not your tactical genius at all. But it just looked like they seemed to know what the roles were, and he kept it simple, and he just carried on from what Worthy had been doing, and that's. There's been some speculation on social media today that he'd already been working with the club. Now, I doubt that greatly, but it's great that they've actually talked about continuity being something that's important, and then they have got somebody who's continued on with what the stuff. I think there were two ex-Town players that helped us out. I think good old Ben Hamer, could he have done better with Wardy? He said he would have struggled to miss, but what was it, edge of the 6-yard area, and he's gone back across him. He's got a full hand to it, a bit like Lee Nichols did last week, but still couldn't keep it out. And I still can't work out how he's managed to get that flick in for the second goal, because it's sort of coming across him in front of him, and he still managed to get a left foot on it and just divert it in. So it's a fantastic finish. But Tom Ince helped us out with a couple of misses as well. So I think there's a little bit of tip of the hat to Ben Hamer and to Tom Ince as well for their assistance for their old club in helping us walk away with the 3 points.
I'm quite amazed at how much difference you could see in the way Town played in just a few days of him being here, because he didn't get his visa until, what was it, Tuesday, Wednesday? I don't think he had a full week even of preparation. But whilst on paper it looks like the setup were a bit different, and I think the start was very good, and I think Watford were definitely taken by surprise, as we were. They'll have prepared for us, I think, to play like we did under Worthington, and they wouldn't have expected us to set up the way that we did. Because seeing that team sheet, I think we were all pretty surprised. No Sorba Thomas. I imagine their game plan would have been around stopping Sorba Thomas. He's not there, and straight away you're like, oh shit, right? What they're going to do now? And hopefully he's back sooner rather than later, because of the performance we've put in on Saturday, and without Sorba Thomas, imagine what we can do if he is about. But I just thought that the press was pretty similar to Worthington. It was, we were pressing high as quickly as we could. But if Watford they got past that first initial press, you could see everyone suddenly turn around and get back into shape again. And depending on how fast Watford played, so quite a lot of the times around about the halfway line, they didn't pass through all the midfield. We kind of reset by that point and went again. And that's why for the first 25 minutes, just looked like we were constantly at them all the time. And like it's just good structured defence. And I have to say, I still thoroughly believe that the defensive structure we have and how good we are at it is based upon Darren Moore making us play that way for so long. It really is helping us because off the ball, we are still really, really good. But the biggest difference was on the ball. Now, we passed a little bit more across the back line than we've done recently. I thought we held possession a little bit more, but it was all about kind of passing to create gaps and to create movement in Watford's midfield and defence. We never made it easy for them. Whereas they broke our press and we got back and reset, we didn't allow them to do that. We passed around trying to create little spaces, create little gaps, making them shift side to side. And that's when we started targeting it. And I thought the first 25 minutes were really good. Again, it's the element of surprise, and I wouldn't expect us to play this way again against somebody else and have the same level of success. I think they weren't prepared for it. We took all advantage that we could, and then they made a couple of substitutions, and from that moment it changed a little bit. I thought they figured themselves back into that half a bit better once he adjusted it. But I tell you what, I'm just enjoying the open games. Okay, we won, and we probably deserved to win over the course of the 90 minutes, but isn't it fucking nice just to see a game where like we could lose, we could win, but at least we're having a go. Like it's just really nice to see it because for so long we've just not had it. I thought Watford again, they started better in that set. I thought second half they were much better to start off with. I thought the goal, like you say, is totally down to Spencer. He's far too weak there in two different options. The first one is Watford's adjusted the gameplay, and when you do play wing backs, one of the ways you can break that down is by hitting the ball over them and hitting that space, and that's where the goal came from. Went over his head initially. They had a chance to tackle a spree, and he just didn't. At amateur level, under 23s, under 21s, and Scottish football, maybe you get a second chance at biting at that, and you can kind of wait because he's so far out of goal. You don't really think it's a goal scoring opportunity, but given that chance again, I'd hope he'd foul him. If he's gonna be in that position there, you just take the foul. You take the foul, let them put a free kick in, and hope your centre backs can win that header. He didn't. He made a mistake, and we're 1-0 down on the back of it. That's the learning curve you have as an inexperienced player in the Championship. That's what happens. It's nothing against his ability. He'll learn from it and get better because every mistake he's made up until this moment, he has adapted to and got better because of it. But I can't agree that you wouldn't have brought Danny Ward, and I don't know why you think. Do you mean Ward and Edwards at the same time, or just Ward on his own? Because still, for me,
Ward came on first. Ward and Wiles came on, and then Edwards came on 5 minutes.
But I think a fit Danny Ward is an asset to any Championship club. He's just not fit. That's the problem with him. He's a hassle, man. His first goal comes from him. Is it the first goal that comes from? Yeah, he hustles for a throw-in. He wins a throw-in out of nothing. And then we kind of work it around a little bit there. And I think Spencer gives it to Wiles and goes back to Spencer. Then Nakayama puts in the shallow cross, doesn't he? But that all came from Ward fighting to win a throw-in that looks like it's nothing. But what I fucking loved about yesterday, another little change was every time we had a throw-in, we had 5 men in the box. So we weren't just attacking corners or set pieces. When we had a throw-in in the final third of the field, and Breitenreiter spoke about this in his interview, didn't he? He said in one of his press conferences, he wanted 5 guys in the box, 5 and 6 in the box. Every throw-in we had 5 in the box. And every goal, both goals yesterday, a throw-in played a part of it, not directly. But when you set up from a throw-in and you've got men in the box, when you do get a crossing, there's guys there that can score. And Danny Ward, for me, if we're playing that way, is the best striker and the most effective striker we'll have. I do like him in a 2 with Delano. So I might be eating my own words here, saying if I want Danny Ward in and I want Delano in, my back four that I love is kind of not going to be there. But I just like Danny Ward's hustle when he's on it. And I think we tried Kean Harrett a bit doing it and it just didn't really work, did it? And obviously he's not available to us at the moment. I think Radulevic's too lightweight. He didn't even get a sniffing again yesterday, did he? I think, did someone mention he was ill a little bit?
He was ill, yeah.
But even still, he's not being used by Worthington either. He just don't look ready for that kind of role that Danny Ward offers us. But I just that throw-in, it ends up with a 3-on-2 at the back. It's a quick throw from a position which we shouldn't have really got it. We've crowded him out around the thrower. He's come back to Nakayama. He's put the ball in. It's a 3-on-2 at the back post, and it's a great finish. It's a great header. It really is. And Danny Ward, he had a lot to do. He wanted an easy finish, but he just gets in the right place. And when you just play like that, it's amazing. I think I'm in love with the way German managers seem to approach games. Sam Allardyce spoke about it years ago in regards to if you take the little percentage wins on throw-ins and corners and free kicks, it adds up to an awful lot over the course of a season. And now with the way Town are, we are besotted with tens of players that are Premier League fringe quality. They're just not. We have to find different ways of doing it. And I just thought even yesterday, First game in, Breitenreiter's found a few ways to do it. Again, Inns really had a couple of chances, didn't he, to put the game to bed. He didn't. And then next minute, we found a way to sneak a win. I don't know why, but Watford just seemed to fit the way we kind of play football. Sunderland are the same, guys. We spoke about it before. Certain teams are just not matched up well with other teams. And Watford, for whatever reason, whenever we go to Watford, we do well. I don't understand why, because form coming into the season doesn't really matter. But I have to say, one of the biggest positives for me was, like you've touched on, Gaz, was Tom Edwards coming from absolutely nowhere, the laughing stock of this football club for this year. To me, prior to yesterday, more laughing stock than Darren Moore's football. It was his performance against Leeds was horrific. And the likelihood is we're going to go into next week's game against Leeds once more. And there's people, including maybe people on here, that would be questioning whether Tom Edwards should be in that team to start again. And now that is the miracle of this season already. It's already over. It's unbelievable. But it's just nice again. Sorry, just to see up
20 minutes. When he came on, he actually had a decent 20 minutes. He had
amazing.
One or two good tackles in. He was heading the ball, 2 or 3 tidy passes, and then, of course, a goal-winning assist.
But do you think part of that? Do you think part of that against Leeds was down to Darren Moore and the tactics? Because he's put him against one of the fastest wingers in the Championship, and the bloke clearly wasn't fit to play the full game. Was that really?
In a 4 as well. In a 4, Nick, as well. Like you said, not only did he do that, he put him in a 4. He was in a 5 yesterday, which gave him a bit more support, I guess.
Yeah, he was a bit further forward, and he looked a hell of a lot more comfortable. And he's only playing for a certain amount of time. So I think, in all seriousness, I did feel a bit sorry for him at Leeds. I mean, it was one of the worst performances I've seen, but I think there were some mitigating circumstances. I don't think he should have been picked in the first place for that role, and I don't think the formation was right at all against Leeds. So, as bad as it looked, I don't lay all the blame at his door for that. So, and I was really pleased to see him come on, because I thought I didn't think I'd ever see him at Town again. To be honest, I forgot he was here. I'd forgotten he was here until I saw his name come up on the bench. I'm like, oh, bloody hell, yeah. And then it was great to see him come on and make such a positive impact. And I just think Watford, they're just a perfect side to play against if you want in a win away from home, because, like I said, they've got really good players. But as a team, they just never seem to... although they're always mid-table, they're never bad enough to be near the bottom, but they just never seem to gel as a team. It just seems in disarray, that club. And I've seen talk of Ishmael potentially been sacked coming up on Talk Sport, and I mean it's not surprising because they do it all the time, don't they? But it's just so unstable there, and I feel a bit sorry for the Watford fans, if I'm being honest, because they must just be tearing their hair out, and you could tell with the boos and the reaction. I mean it was pretty bad, wasn't it? It was pretty bad atmosphere, and it was perfect for us. It was set up perfect for us. And it was so important to go and get the 3 points, because look at the other results as well. Wednesday winning, QPR coming back from behind to win. Millwall getting a win down at Southampton. I mean, who would have predicted that? It's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy.
Buster, if ever I saw one.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
But this is what you get in this is why we love the Championship, isn't it? Because every week there's a weird result from somewhere. Hopefully ours will be next on Saturday against Leeds. Hopefully we'll do the Millwall. We'll see. But yeah, it was great. It was, and like you say, you just want to see us have a go. Draws aren't good enough for us at this stage. Not with the other clubs around us winning. We need wins, and it's better to go for it and get a couple of defeats and a couple of wins than get 3 draws. We need wins at this stage of the season. I liked how fluid it was. I like the press. I like the energy. I do worry. The more we press, the more energy we use. We've got a game. We're coming into a spell where we've got Saturday, Tuesday, or Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday. We've got a lot of games in quick succession, and I do worry a little bit with injuries and fatigue setting in. But if we can put in this performance and get a result without Hellick, Bolker, Thomas, it only bodes well, doesn't it? For the remaining...
I think already, Nick, I think you can already see the pragmatism in Breitenreiter's approach, in that yesterday the system was fit for the personnel we had, and it worked. And the in-game adjustments, Edwards and Danny Ward's won us the game. And now that tells you more. We can talk about it all you want, but the proof's in the result, in that he made those adjustments at 1-0, and we've walked away 2-1 winners. I think we were much better yesterday compared to the Hull game last week, like you say, because we had a shorter turnaround then. Did we play the Wednesday night against Sunderland and then Hull on the weekend? That was it. Yeah. You can't press like that. It was naive actually to expect to be able to press like we did on the third game in a week. But you've had a week's rest here now. And yesterday we finished quicker. We finished faster than Watford do. And I think going into the Leeds game, we can probably do it again. But like you say, Nick, when we get into that point of the season where, again, and like you say, we've got Cardiff on the Wednesday night coming up shortly. And then you've got to readjust. And now, to be honest, under Darren Moore, I did think he had the tactical ability to do that. Worthington is an inexperienced manager. I'm not entirely sure he does either. And to be fair, he didn't show it at Southampton. He went at him, didn't he? And even in when we got back into the game and ahead, I thought, and we spoke about it before, we should have adjusted then. He didn't. Breitenreiter has been in for one game, made some adjustments, like Neil Warnock used to do, by the way, in the second half, and win that game. And I have full faith in him being able to do that. And it's really important that he does, because like you say, our form now, I think we've won 3, lost 2 in the last 5. Yeah, we're still only 2 points off relegation zone. And I think we started off more than that at the beginning of those 5 games. I don't actually know how you can take 9 points from 15 and be closer to the relegation zone than you were at the beginning of it. But this division is a tough division. And it's cliche again saying you've got, is it 12 games left? Is that what we've got now? Or is it a little bit more? Yeah, 12 games. Say they're all cup finals. They're not all... This kind of feels like that, doesn't it? When everyone else is winning around you, you can't look and say, well, Millwall are at Southampton this weekend. That's a it's a freebie then. Let's just go to Watford and take a draw. If we wouldn't have won, would have been outside the relegation zone on points by just one goal. No, by one goal, we'd have been out of it.
Goal difference. We were outside by goal difference at one point.
That's how tight it is.
5 or 10 minutes.
That's how tight it is. But when your manager can make adjustments, like we've seen in one game, you can't have more hope than that. But it is going to be really important that he gets that balance right, because there's no way we can press like we did even yesterday. There's no way you can do that Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday. You will burn out at some point unless you rotate the squad. Does he think we've got it? If he can get a bit of a whisper out of Tom Edwards like he did yesterday, maybe he can. Maybe he can find ways of doing it. But I tell you what, it's going to be interesting to see how we go week in, week out, or game in, game out. Because I don't think it's going to be the same thing all the time. I don't think it can be based on the squad that we've got.
I think you're right. And I think, I don't know if you saw the Yorkshire Post, but I read the Yorkshire Post piece on Breitenreiter on Saturday morning before I went to the game. And he was saying that he'd actually he'd seen plenty, watched plenty, but he actually had a sit-down discussion with Jonathan Hogg to talk about what suits the team and what suits the players. So, this is a guy that's actually willing to take feedback and I guess that's probably why your point, Ian, that it wasn't massively dissimilar from Worthy's departure. Because if you're Jonathan Hogg, you go, well, just watch the last 3 or 4 games. That's what works with this squad and with these players. And I think the challenge. I'm with you. The challenge. By the way, I just want to call out Tom Lees. I thought had an absolutely immense game yesterday. He was, after having a bit of a nightmare against Hull, I thought he had a really poor game against Hull. He was back to his best yesterday. He swept up behind Pearson and Nakayama, and they tried to play quick and in behind us a few times, but he was always in the right place just to clear it up or tidy it up. I thought he had a great game. But we have got a lot of bodies to come back, and I think when we spoke before about Worthy, he had a little bit of luck in some of the injuries. Suddenly people were fit when they weren't before, and we've just got to try and nurse these people through, haven't we? We've got Balker's injured again. I mean, that's a bit of a worry for me. That bloke's only played 2 games and then he's out again. Hogg, it looked like his hip when he went off, which of course is where he has his long-term injury. So I'm not sure we're going to see Hogg on Saturday. It wouldn't surprise me if we don't see him at all. But yeah, I'm with you. I think going back to what you said, Andy, about keeping it simple, the Germans tend to, I have a bit of involvement with some Germans at work, and they do tend to be very direct, very straightforward, and very clear in what it is they expect and what they want. So it's no surprise if Breitenreiter works in a similar way. So people like Tom Edwards, this is what I want you to do. Don't deviate, stick to that task, and we'll be absolutely fine. And I think that's what he did.
Get your comments in, guys. We've got good numbers listening tonight, so just get, if you're YouTube, listen on YouTube or Twitter, get your comments in and we'll read them out and we'll discuss. If you've got any questions you want answering or any topics you want us to discuss, then put them on and we'll put it up there and we'll have a chat about it. I've just remembered as well. I've been one of the worst hosts in the world. I forgot to actually introduce the panel, which is for the first time ever. I was obviously just the wins obviously just mangle. I think I'm getting dizzy because we're the highest we've been in the table since year dot at 19th. So with me tonight, Andy K, Ian Kilroy, and Gas K for you guys that's just joined us. So as always, brilliant to see so many people listening, and thank you very much for your support. And yeah, do get your comments in. What do we make of Andre Breitenreiter then? Because we've had his we have the club interview, we had the press conference. I personally thought he came across really well. We're comparing it to Darren Moore's, so obviously the bar was, I mean, it wasn't particularly high, was it, in terms of charisma and entertainment? However, I really liked his honesty and the simplicity of the way that he answered the questions. He didn't waffle. It was to the point. It looks like a guy that knows what he's doing, as simply as I can put it. I felt reassured listening to him. I felt like this is the guy that's been there, done it. He knows what he's doing. And it was very much, look, we've got to stay up first. We will stay up. Not, oh, it's going to be, we will stay up. And then we're going to start building. And I want to try and get into the Prem in a few years. And I liked it. I like the confidence in the guy. He's got the experience. I think he's going to command the respect to the players. It looks like some of the key players in the squad are buying into him already. And he's got that early respect, and the win's obviously really going to help as well. You get off to a winning start. It helps to get your ideas across and for people to buy in. But I'm not sure why Cartwright was at that press conference, to be honest, because he didn't really say that much. It was like a bouncer sat next to. I don't know what he thought he was going to say. He was there for some sort of moral support or to make sure he didn't say something daft. But again, I thought he answered all the questions really well. And sometimes you just get a certain feeling. And Darren Moore has a bit meh, and some of the other managers have been a bit well, yeah. But this guy, similar to when Wagner came in, there's that excitement there, but there's also that, yeah, actually, I think this guy could be a real long-term success with us.
I think he's very experienced, isn't he? Was he 50 years old and he's got, 12, 13 years worth of experience. And he communicated very well in a second language, which was key for me. A couple of things that I liked from it was he was asked whether or not it was a risk for him to come over, and he was almost startled by the fact that anybody would think that would be a risk because he was so confident in what he's going to do and how he's going to do it. And he saw it as a potential opportunity, a potential stepping stone to other does a good job here. Might not get us into the Premier League, but you never know. A Premier League club might come calling, and I think that's a lot of German managers want that. And then just the background work they talked about that he'd done prior to going into one of his interviews. So he was talking about how he was going to use the players. He'd watched a lot of games. He's very much a detailed guy, but not to I got the feeling that Corberan was very much a detailed guy, but almost an overload. It seems that he's very good at working out what his audience needs and giving it them. And so I think that's what you get when you get a guy like that who's been there, seen it, done it. You're going to get a lot of good stuff like that. And I was really impressed by him. Nice. Just seemed level-headed, just like knew what was expected of him. He wasn't fazed by, Oggie's first question was, it felt like deliberately antagonistic, wasn't it? Why are you here? Well, I'm here to manage Huddersfield Town Football Club, and this is how I'm going to do it. And he wasn't thrown by it. So yeah, I really liked him. Yeah, top bloke.
But you're right, and he's managed at the top level in Germany. So I can imagine when he goes to press conferences as the manager of Schalke or Hannover 96, there's slightly more people in the room than Catherine from Radio Leeds and Chris Dorks from ITV. Do you know what I mean? So I think no disrespect to either of them, but my point is he's used to being in a proper press conference that'll be almost in like a theatre style with 50 or 60 people in. So I don't think that was an issue for him. I think he's previously dealt with that kind of pressure and expectation. He's operated at a high level in Germany. He was at Schalke, and a fair few people have been through Schalke over the years as well. So he is a top level manager, as I think we said last week, 7 out of 12 years in the Bundesliga. But we tried to watch him a bit on the touchline on Saturday, and actually he was animated at times when he needed to be animated. He was animated, but he wasn't Carlos directing traffic animated, because that's my favourite Carlos. He shouts at somebody and points, and they just like, I have no idea what you're pointing at, mate. He was animated when he was, and when the players came to the touchline, he made a point of speaking to individuals and looking like he was trying to explain specific things to specific people rather than talking in generalities, which I quite liked. The bench absolutely exploded on the second goal, which was always great to see in it, because that's a good sign of a team that's all together. And he came right to the crowd after the game, and I think if you watch the video of him celebrating with the players, we copped him from the stand with Danny Ward. He clearly, I don't know exactly what was said, but it was clearly on the lines of either I told you, or the way he reacted to him was almost like you did it sort of thing. So yeah, I've been really impressed with him so far, and I'm with you, and it's always difficult to communicate in a second language, and that was part of Carlos's problem sometimes, that he couldn't really express his emotions. In Spanish he'd have been fine, but no, I'm everything I've seen about this bloke is making me more and more excited about what the future holds. He's got to keep us in this division, we know that. And after yesterday, I think there's enough in the tank to do that. It's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a struggle, but I do think we've enough to do that. And then, I think next year, once he gets the chance to bring a small, handful in of his own players and set up how he likes to play, then I think it could be really exciting.
I absolutely fell in love with him. Not in the first interview that he had with DTS, which was when Town put out that presser, and it's like DTS holding his hand a little bit, saying, I'm asking him the questions that are going to guarantee a nice positive answer. And he got through that really nicely, and that's fine. But that's very different, isn't it, than when you've got day after, and okay, we don't have that many media guys that interested in us, but you're still going to get asking really arsey questions. I loved it, and it's not nasty, but like you say, to the point, just a little bit of an edge to it, just a bit of, how are you going to run with this one, Andre? What are you going to do with it? And honestly, I absolutely fell in love with him. My worry with him is that on paper, we've never had a manager that's come in with as good a CV as him in modern history. Again, I'm not entirely sure what happened in 50s and 60s. I'm not going to say ever, because someone will throw something at me saying, "Oh, you're talking shit again." But on paper, as of today, he's succeeded in so many different countries, in different situations as well. He's gone to Schalke, took him to 5th in the league. Had a bit of a disagreement with the new football director that came in and wanted Champions League football. But after that, Schalke have dropped like a stone. So he overachieved there. At the time he was there, he did really, really well. It just didn't kind of work out. Like I say, is it Hanover he took up after he came back in as like Simon Grayson we had in to do it, didn't we, in League One after Lee Clark, that kind of thing. He took him up. Great. Might not have worked afterwards, but achieved what he set out to do initially. Zurich hadn't won it for 9 years, 10 seasons or something. But when he went there and he beat David Wagner's young boys to win the title there, he's succeeded in every job he's been in. Okay, Hoffenheim didn't work last time, but his track record is bloody good. And now my worry was, like Oggy saying, why are you here? I kind of had that same kind of, why is he here? But to me, he answered the questions, yes, right? I'm sure financial repayment and what he's getting from the club is a big part of it, absolutely. But he's turned down jobs. He's turned down jobs recently, which tells me he's been looking at the right job, and he must think there's enough at Town to come here and for him to be able to do well. And when he overachieves very well, like at Paderborn. And I think we're a kind of similar club to that in the size of us and reputation in England compared to them in Germany. And he did really well there. So for me, he's a guy that can spot opportunity. And he's done it not once, but twice, 3 times in different divisions in different countries, right? So he's looking at us thinking, yeah, do you know what? They're a goer. And for me, that's got me more excited than anything he could have said. Anything I've even seen on Saturday, that he thinks we've got potential to do better than we're doing, because he's a guy that's in professional football and knows it and has proven it time and time and time again. Now, he also said he wanted to do really well in the motherland, and that's that pretty well. The fact that he'd spent time with David Wagner in Huddersfield before, only for a one night with Wagner in Huddersfield, it sounds like a bit of a dirty documentary, that one. But at least you know what he's getting into, right? You know what he's getting into. You know he's involved, and he knows people that knows the club. And straight away, first press conference, it comes across like it's a Dean Oil appointment straight away. And it just feels right. And now, even if we'd have lost on Saturday against Watford, I don't think it has actually mattered too much. Okay, more pressure. And we don't want that. It's a tough division. We want to stay in this division. But regardless of what have happened, I think that the feeling around the club is just totally different to where we were, even under Worthy, because that picked us straight back up after Darren Moore, but you know it wasn't a static thing that was going to be like that forever. We were going to make that next appointment, and we were all kind of waiting for it to be a little bit deflated when you're hearing of Duff and whatnot, and you know that the fans are going to fight with each other a little bit. It's just not that, is it? I don't think any of us could have expected the appointment that we got, the performance he put in on his press conference that got me excited, and I don't get excited very easy. I'm pessimistic. I'm thinking he's coming for the money. He's coming for the money. And then the first thing he said, like you say, he just appears really humble. He knows Huddersfield. He thinks he's a good opportunity here. He's here to do well. And what another little thing he said about he criticised Worthington's approach a tiny little bit underneath it all when he's saying we can't press for 90 minutes. And that was a direct thing to me in regards to why it failed against Southampton and a couple of other points in his 4-game tenure. And just that news and just that knowledge to be able to pick that out before he's even got here says more than anything you could put out in a fucking press statement. I absolutely fell in love with him on it, and I'll give him at least 3 more games of defeats before I get straight on his back, probably more than I would to anybody else. And as a football coach, you're right. That as Darren Moore's found out, 5.5-year contract, he's 3 games in, 3 defeats in at Port Vale, and it's already got pretty horrible. But I just don't think you could ask for a better start than what we've got from Breitenreiter. And the win on Saturday is just the cherry on top, really.
Takes all the pressure off getting that win early as well, doesn't it? Especially when you've got such a difficult game against Leeds with asterisks. Let's go on to Kev's tweet then, because Kevo tweeted after the game quite rightly to say how proud he was of Andre and the lads for sticking with it. Huge away win, etc., etc. And then he's put now on to next week in a huge match versus Leeds with asterisks and has blown up has wound up the old Leeds fans on there. I mean, it's great, really. It's great banter. I love it. I love that Kev's so active on social media, and him and Carmichael Dave. I just love the interaction, and I love the fact that they're winding up Leeds fans so much. It's great.
It's like, have you seen the non-league clip on Twitter this week where there's a guy and it's a little like a documentary footage where he's taking a corner and he's got it outside the D, and you can see the fans going so fucking vitriolic, shouting so much abuse at him. And in the reality, the big scheme of things, a ball being a centimetre outside the D for a corner is so unimportant, but getting him to bite is everything. And as soon as that happens, you know you've beat him. And honestly, we've got a psychological advantage going into the game against Leeds on the back of our chairman just winding them all up, and Dave Carmichael giving it big in at back, going, "Oh, look at these idiots! The rattle. We've got him." I love it. I absolutely love it. And what Town are really building, though, it looks like it's a throwaway thing. It's not a throwaway thing that they're doing. They're building a us versus them culture, and they might not be doing it as directors, but that's what it is. We're all unified again. We're Town fans, and we've got something to be proud of. And we're going to Leeds next week, and even owners saying, "Yeah, we want to do them." Not just because it's another game, not this usual, it's just another game, it's just another game. No one's thinking like that anymore. All of a sudden, it's Leeds, we need to go and do them. We need to go and put a good shift in. And it just gets people excited, doesn't it? It's breaking every game down. It's an American thing again, really. It's a bit NFL where every game's really important. They make every single one an event. And it brings a kind of extra excitement. And just the chairman doing that and Breitenreiter talking about it. Oh, I can't wait. I already can't wait. And again, if we'd have lost Saturday, I'd have still felt the same. But the fact that every time we win, Kevin whaps it out as if he's, "Hey, look at us, man. We're amazing. Look at this document. Look how wonderful we are there. Now we're stuffing Leeds next week. And then we'll lose and it'll go dead quiet for another couple of weeks and we won't talk about it." But you know what? When you win, shove it down people's faces. Because to be fair, as Town fans, we don't win enough, do we? We've not had this opportunity for so long that we've got a bit of positivity that's lasted more than a day. And I'll tell you what, I'm all for it.
They're proper biting, aren't they? That's the funniest thing. They were like on it in seconds, weren't they, Leeds fans? They must, and the worst thing is, so that must mean they must follow Kevin Nagle on Twitter, right? Because even if they were searching Leeds or the Leeds hashtag, it wouldn't come up, would it? So they're clearly following him. So, I mean, like, proper rent-free for a start. And it is a no-lose, really, because if we lose, well, what did you expect? Yeah, you're unbeaten in 9, you're top of the league. I should all be fucking beating us. So it's a no-lose. It's proper genius. And I'm with you. The Kevin thing was funny, but the Carmichael Dave one, it's all kicking off at Bell End Road, which set them off again, didn't it? And they're going, well, it's ridiculous. A grown man won't spell the word Leeds. He's using asterisks. Hang on it. This is a fan base who can't bring themselves to say the words Man United. They won't type it, they won't write it, they won't say it. So you might want to have a look at yourself, old pal. But yeah, it's proper funny. We haven't had anything like this in ages, have we? So
we won't be on Twitter next week though, Gaz. Will we? If we're getting battered 2:00 Saturday afternoon, I won't be on Twitter.
I still expect us to get done. I cannot see a scenario where they don't come next week and win. I can't. But what they will do is the proper rattled out there, and it doesn't matter, does it? They're getting promoted to the Premier League, so what does it matter? You might as well have them gone the way as they're disappearing off into the distance. You might as well, haven't you?
I don't
Just
know,
a proper cheap shot. Proper cheap shot.
You say that, Gaz, but Ipswich, same points. You know, it only takes a bit of the stumble this stage of season. They've still got Southampton behind them. It's not cut and dry yet. It's not sewn up yet, and we know what Leeds are like round Easter for Kevin, don't we? You never know.
They appointed Farker. They were promoted. A brilliant appointment. Brilliant manager. They're going up. They are.
You're probably right, but I'll piss myself if they don't. I mean, I love that they showed against Leicester all this I predict a riot and singing, what an atmosphere at Ellen Road, absolutely bouncing.
Well, I watched
silent for 80 minutes.
They should have been 3 down, shouldn't they? Before they scored the first goal, they should have been 3 down. And there wasn't a whisper. All you could hear were Leicester fans.
Absolute nonsense. It's easy to have an atmosphere when you score 3 goals against a promotion rival, and it's just ridiculous. But we'll be playing I Predict a Riot when we win on Saturday to finish the game off, I'm sure. That would be nice just to see them away. But it's exciting, lads. And, I mean, it's a big game for lots of reasons. The thing is, with that win against Watford, it gives us some leeway. I mean, we're 2 points above. We're still 2 points above relegation. And having said that, there's only a few points to 15th. So what it has done has dragged other teams into the mire, into the fight. And it's so hard. This is why we love the Championship, because it's so tight down there, isn't it? It's so hard to predict. And I think we'll be all right, personally, because I look at us. There's unity there. We've got good players, and we're working well as a team. And you look at your teams like, I mean, Millwall picked up a good result, but they've been terrible to recently. Blackburn dropping like a stone, terrible. Stoke, disarray. There are teams a lot worse than us. And you know what? Even if we lose to Leeds, which really on paper we should do, we've still got other winnable games on the horizon. And like you say, I agree, guys. I think the pressure's all on Leeds, isn't it, on Saturday? There's not really any pressure on us at all. And I'm just loving the fact that there's a lot of parallels, isn't there, with the Wagner era. We've got the chairman that communicates with the fans with the Q&As and putting his money where his mouth is. We've got the Sean Jarvis, the Carmichael Dave, also chipping in with the communication and that sort of link between the fans. We've got the German manager, progressive, no limits, and you're just hoping that we can go the same way and we can push on up. But I think it's really encouraging for, if we do manage to get there, stay up for the pre-season, because this bloke wouldn't have come if he ain't going to be backed financially in the window, that's for sure. So, and I'd be really interested to see who he brings in. But I think looking at Saturday, there's no pressure whatsoever. I think we're just going without fear and take the game to them. And if we lose 4-0, we lose 4-0. But I still think we'll be more than fine. And I think we'll give Leeds a game. I really do. I don't think it'll be as easy as what... They might turn up with a bit of a false sense of security and could play into our hands. It might be a little bit sloppy, thinking that the game's already won, because we've seen that before. Can't be worse than jumping at their place. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they've got a game Wednesday night, haven't they? Sorry, Nick. They've got a game Wednesday night, haven't they, against Chelsea in the FA Cup? So, and then it's a quick turnaround to travel back from London. So that might play into our hands. I mean, it shouldn't do. These guys are professional athletes, aren't they? And they've dropped down from the Premier League. You think you got Premier League levels of fitness. I've just looked at the odds and we're 6-1 to win in a home game, and Leeds are 1-2 on.
That's crazy.
So,
that's ridiculous. In a derby game, that's mental odds. Get your money on
that. I mean,
might as well put your money on for that.
Yeah.
The thing is, I think the game plan has to be on Saturday, right? Leeds are coming expecting to batter us. And now you've rattled them. Fan base are rattled. They're wanting to batter us and all. You just frustrate them. You frustrate them for as long as possible. And now you can't deep block. You can't do that. But I think you've got to press high, but then sitting a little bit deeper than we have the last couple of games, because you really just want to get their fans on their back. because they're chasing promotion. They need the win. And I'm with guys. I think they're going to canter to it. I think they've got that pace where good teams kind of... Man United under Alex Ferguson used to get it after Christmas every year. They'd kind of be figuring stuff out. They'd get to Christmas and then it'd be a roller coaster. You just know that it'd be steamrolling to the title and nothing could stop them. Once they get their heads up and the belief there, it's really hard to stop a football team. And to me, Leeds have that, even more than really Leicester do at the moment. I think, obviously, you see you saying that after the game this weekend, but even before that, I think Leeds have the form team. They seem to play the football that no one else can stop. And I'd be very surprised if out of anyone in this division, they're the ones that didn't go up. I really do think they'll take it, no problem. But like you say, it's a derby, and they'll be more nervous than usual because it is a derby. I just think you've got to frustrate them as long as possible. But I'll be picking a team to be fast on the break because of it. I'll be back to my Sorba, Thomas, Karoma, and Bergzorg as a front three. And then Danny Ward as an option later on, maybe. But I'll be going for pace and just trying to hit him on the counter attack. And I know it sounds a little bit ridiculous going back to how we've played previously in this season, but I think against teams like this, it's not a regular game because, like you said, I think Southampton, Leicester, and Leeds are that much better than everybody else. I know Ipswich are up there, but when we played them at home, I didn't think they were that great. I thought we should have won that game until we were either forced into those substitutions or Darren Moore did his amazing tactical substitutions, and it cost us that game. But I think those three teams are that good that you do have to adjust for them. The rest of the teams in the division, I don't think there's that much between them. I think it's a pretty close thing, apart from Rotherham, who are one of the worst sides in Championship history, I think. But you've got to just frustrate them as long as possible because their fans will not like it if you can frustrate them in that. They'll be impatient. So you just got to hold on to it and see what we can do. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how Breitenreiter sets up for this one because I don't think any of us could guess it. We couldn't guess what happened on Saturday, and there's no idea. We've got no idea what's coming up this week. But like you say, Andy, them playing midweek will help us. But that's why it frustrated me even more. I'd give them possession, let them pass around, just let them tire themselves out a little bit, and see what you can do then in that second half. Because it's one of those games where I know it's strange that you don't want to get an early lead and then you sit deep and then they come at you all game. I don't really want that either. I think you just want to frustrate them, and then see what you can do later on. But I don't think I've looked forward to a game in a long time as I'm looking forward to Leeds this Saturday.
Leicester had a lot of joy by pressing him fairly high. The lad who plays for Wales with a bad hair, I can't remember his name now, number 6 for them. He played centre half against Leicester instead of centre midfield, and they did struggle when they got pressed. That Kamara, I think he's an average player in a decent team. So I honestly think we press him high and press him in the centre mid, and then as you say, Ian, try and hit him with pace on the break. I think we could cause some problems because Leicester should have been out of sight before Leeds scored their first goal. Leicester should have been out of sight. I love the fact Mark's put L asterisk DF.
Yeah, nice work. He's right, and they are susceptible to the poor result. Leeds, I think, did they draw with Rotherham as well early in the season? They're not unbeatable. I think the game's going to be won and lost down the flanks. To be honest, you've got Somerville one side, you've got Nonto, and you've got James to come on to replace him, and that's going to be the issue. You've got Brodie Spence, who's quite, although he's been brilliant, he's quite inexperienced still. Who do we play at right back? Pearson? Just try and snap Somerville into early in game and see what happens.
I think if Ogg's fit, he'll go with Kasuma at right wing back again, which was really effective against Watford.
He's always impressed me at right back, Kasuma. Every time I've seen him play, because I like his energy down there. He's to me, he's rarely had a bad game at right back.
I think that's it. If you go with Spencer, I'd go Spencer Kasumu. If you go with Spencer and Kasumu as your fast wing backs in a back five against Leeds, I think that'll take away not all of the advantages of Somerville and what they've got pace wise, but I think it's a lot different than when we have Edwards there last time. I think that's kind of the way to go. But then, like I say, with your centre backs, who do you go with? Because we're likely to get a couple of them back. I don't think we'll have to play Nakayama, Yuta back there. But what would you do? Would you? Is Hellick going to be back? I know he took a pretty hefty knock, but you can't not play him if he's available because he's a goal scoring threat. I think Pearson's a guy that you want in a derby, innit? If you're going to play those kind of games where you want all your guys to win the one-on-one battles, Pearson has to be in that starting 11. So it's a fine balance between countering their pace out wide, but making sure you've got your match winners and you guys you're going to put, like Johnny Ogg. I know we're going to question whether he's going to be fit or not, but he's the guy that I wouldn't have in most games at the moment because I don't think I know there was an article this week about how saying somebody's legs have gone is the worst thing you can say about somebody now when it comes to football, and it is. But he's definitely on the downturn of his fitness and his energy and his ability to dictate games. But you want him in this game, don't you? You'd have Johnny Ogg starting for sure, because you just want to drag the team through it. It's going to be really interesting to see who's available. And honestly, I don't know who I'd play at the back. I've got no idea. I've got absolutely no idea. But I suppose you'd have to target set pieces, wouldn't you, in this one? You'd have to be looking at, again, working your throw-ins with men in the box. So you'd want Pearson and Hellick playing if they're both fit, because they do offer goal threats that nobody else in the entire team does, by Danny Ward and Bergzorg. So I don't know. It's going to be a bit of a lottery. Well, I think we're back to guess who's playing, because anything could happen.
That's why I kind of thought Pearson at right back, just because I think you've got to play. To me, you've got to play Lees as well for his experience, haven't you? Really, I don't know. It's difficult. It's nice to have the options, but I think you've got to have Pearson and Elliott there.
I want Balker back in, and I think that's one of the things that I think Breitenreiter will do. I think he'll make those tough calls. So I think he will leave a player out, because he's talked about picking teams specifically for particular games. So where's their threat? Wide. So you've got to try and match the pace wide. I mean, they've got threats all over the place, haven't they? They're, it pains me to say, a really, really, really good team. So I think he might specifically go with, I think we need pace. I'm not sure how quick Balker is, but I think he's quicker than Lees and Pearson. Right. Hellick just can cover the pitch in 2 strides, can't he? Because he's that tall and that when he's in form. So Balker and Hellick, and then who else? I'd probably go Pearson, just from what you guys have said, for that. If he crunches somebody in the first 5 minutes and he looks at the crowd, everybody will be on. That's a big thing, and that's one of the advantages. I mean, the chances are there'll probably be a lot of Leeds fans in the home end, I would imagine, based on previous experiences of this game. But we should have 22,000 or so supporting our team, and that could be a big difference, because it's probably the only advantage that we've got on the day is to have somebody who can get the crowd going. And with it being Breitenreiter's first game at home as well, you'd hope there'd be a little bit of pomp and ceremony about that, and get people fired up for that. But yeah, I think we're not as good a footballing team as them, so we've got to go with the advantages that we have got, which will be hopefully the crowd, and hopefully just this 11 versus 11, and we're going to have to bully them. So Albert Thomas talked about, who was it, the team that we bullied at was it Sheff Wednesday? That was something we knew we could bully them. We're going to have to try and do that again. And yes, they're quick and they could get round us, and it could be a terrible result. But at the end of the day, you only get 0 points if you lose. It won't really matter score wise. It'll be what it will be. But I've got to go at least 3 times next week, and I've also got the Monday and the Tuesday. I'm working in Leeds as well, so I'm fingers crossed for something, because it could be a long time.
The thing is, the one thing I would add to all this was, actually last time we played them, okay, we lost 4-1 and it was 4-0 at half time, won it, and we were expecting like 10 goals by that point. If you actually remember the first 20 minutes, I know it sounds crazy, but we were actually pretty good. We were good in attack, and our Webster's nearly got caught for like 3 goals in the first 10 minutes. But apart from that, Bergzorg I think he had a 1-on-1 chance that he messed up at the edge of the box, and there were a couple of breakaways Sorba Thomas should have done better with. They aren't the best against pace at the back. There is a chance there. It's just how you balance the right kind of pressing high and fast guys up top, but then being able to set back into a structured defence, so you're not giving them so many easy chances as we did last time. But there is a blueprint there from the last time we played them, where the players that we have had a bit of luck against them. The thing is, second half, I suppose we won that half 1-0. Really, we should really be celebrating that more. But it was an awful. We just closed shop. That's it. Where's the trophy
somewhere for that?
It's next to Liverpool's net spend trophy. But, it's just that they weren't very good against that pace, and there were moments where we could have probably been ahead before James got the first goal. We didn't, and it's a different story. Of course, in that second half, it was we closed up shop, and okay, we nicked it 1-0, but Leeds didn't have to press, and there was no real stress on that one. But the pace against him in that first half did work, so there is something there we can go with, and that's why for me, if you've got Karoma, Bergzorg, and Thomas, that's what you chuck up the front 3, and then you work the rest of it out from there. Because last time there was a bit of success there.
We won't commit defensive suicide, though, will we? We committed absolute suicide for 20 minutes. That ain't going to happen. And if all the centre halves are fit, for me, you go with Pearson, Balker, and Hellick because they give you the perfect blend. The perfect blend. You know, the threat at set pieces are Hellick. And with you, Andy, you know it's not often Pearson loses an individual battle against anybody over 90 minutes, and Balker's got a little bit of quality. And I honestly think if we press them and nick the ball, especially with Della and Thomas in the team, we can cause them some problems because, like a lot of Championship teams, they're very good going forward, but pretty average in defence. You could say that of Southampton, you can say that of Leeds, and you can say that of Ipswich. Not Leicester, possibly. They're possibly the exception. I know they let 3 in against Leeds, but 2 of them were as lucky as you like, weren't they? So, you know, I'm with you. We won't commit defensive suicide. You know, the way that Breitenreiter wants to play the old Gegen press, that'll be selective. If we lose the ball, we'll get straight back into a good shape. That's what they'll be working on this week is pressing at the right time and then getting back into good shape. Because if you do that against somebody like Leeds, then what you're saying is about frustrating, that'll start to happen. Because their fans are already riled up. They think they're rocking up to a bottom 6 team and we should be just rolling over and tickling the belly. Well, I'm not sure under Breitenreiter that's what's going to happen.
Would anyone play Danny Ward?
No.
Would anyone start Ward after his performance? Or
it's hard not to win it, but I think when Ben Wiles changed the game against Sheffield Wednesday, didn't it? And then we was it that one? And we rested him. We didn't start the game after against Southampton. I think that's the kind of thing. I think Danny Ward deserves to start, absolutely, but I don't think it's the right game for him to start, just based on what we did last time against them and how pace kind of countered what they're good at a little bit. I do think Danny Ward is still the best 9, and I'll stick my hat on that. I'll stay with that. I think it fit. He's the best guy we've got as a number 9. But then your system's got to suit that as well. Jordan Rhodes is an option when it comes to scoring goals in the Championship, but the way we play just doesn't suit him. So there's games for different strikers, isn't there? He's earned the start. He scored 2 goals in a game and won it for us. He might have kept us up with that. They might be the 2 extra, the 2, I suppose, the 3 points that keep us up at the end of the season. But for me, it's just not the right kind of game. I'm not saying it won't be the right point in the game to bring him on. Not at all. I'm sure they will be. But I think you'll have to go with Bergsorg if he's fit. And to be fair, though, is he? Did he take any knocks this week? He seems to be all right, and then not all right. Between him and Bolker, I don't know what they do. I've got absolutely no idea. I say Bolker's been available for 2 out of 6 games. Is that what it is? 2 or 3? And he's been ill twice. Was he injured this week? Then I thought he was ill. Was he ill again or injured?
Quad issue this week. A minor quad issue this week. Yeah.
I get these growing pains when it comes to getting ready to English football. It is hard, and I suppose we've got to expect it. It's just we need everybody fit between now and the end of the season to give us the best chance of staying up. That's all.
I think he's got to go 5 at the back. Surely, he's got to go 5 at the back after what happened with the 4. I think you've got to double up on these white players because they're just too dangerous. Yeah, I think you've got to play Bergsorg, haven't you? Because he just causes chaos and his physicality, and I mean he doesn't know what he's going to do, does he? So the opposition certainly don't, do they? So he can produce something from nothing, which is exactly what you need. What I will say, I think Matos is going to be key in this as well if he's fit, because we're going to have to press him. We're going to have to get on Rutter and somebody and stop him creating. And that's going to be very difficult, and he's going to have to. It's going to take a lot of energy, but I think Matos, he has impressed me. I think he's going to be the key player in this, to be honest, because you're going to need that energy to get in the faces and just to not give them any time on the ball. Because as soon as you give them space and time on the ball, they're gonna pick out those passes. So yeah, it's an interesting one. I think in another world, if it wasn't a derby game, you'd be targeting more the following game, wouldn't you, against Cardiff, and you'd be saying, well. Not write it off, but do you know where we used to do with Carlos, and there were certain games where we just didn't really not take it serious, but yeah, it was kind of written off, wasn't it? But it focused on the games where we knew we'll have more of a chance of winning, but you can't do that in a derby game. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, isn't it?
Well, I tell you, by the way, I think is if ever there was a time for Radoni to have a good game, it's against Leeds. One thing that I did notice certainly through most of the first half was that when the Watford centre halves were playing it about on Saturday, he went and stood on Livermore. He didn't man mark him, but he stood on him and he made it really difficult for Livermore to get the ball, turn and distribute, which of course that's what he wants to do. And I just wonder whether we might do the same on Saturday and get him to stand on Kamara and then try and stop that play, make him go long. Because if they go long, unless they drop it in behind a wing back and as Watford did for their goal, as long as that doesn't happen too often, I think we'll be absolutely fine. So
you're right, guys. That was a distinct play that Radoni to do that job. And then the next job is when they do go long, if our defenders head it, then it's Matos's job as a fast midfielder to pick it up there. And that worked really, really well this weekend. And I think that's going to be a thing going forward. It's if you've got your attacking centre midfielder in Radoni who's able to kind of stop their defensive midfielder, their holding midfielder play, it changes their entire game plan. And you're making them change and adjust for us. And now we've not had that for a long time. We're not a team that forces other teams to adjust, but I like that as well. And it's another reason I just think Breitenreiter is the guy. Those little tiny things that he's done already. He's been here 4 days, and he said he's watched a lot of games, and you can tell he has. I think when you're seeing things like that, Radoni's a fast little nippy guy. He might not be able to tackle, but you don't need to tackle. You just have to be there. They either walk past to him, or if they do, he doesn't have that time to turn, take him on, and then spray it about easily. We've allowed that far too often. That deep press under Darren Moore, we kind of just let their defensive midfielder dictate play far too much. And I don't think we're going to see that again. And I really do think we'll benefit because of it.
Radoni, I like certain aspects of his game. He's very good on the ball. He's close control. He brings people into play. He's quite good at winning the ball back at times, but he can't finish a sentence. His finishing is absolutely awful. He's fine up to the box, but his decision making is if his finishing were better, it'd be up towards the top end of the championship in terms of midfielders. But I just wish he'd get his finishing sorted out and his final ball, and then we'd have a right player on our hands. But I mean, it can be worked on, and he's only young. And I don't like bashing young players too much because he's got a lot of developing time, but it just frustrates me at times because he gets in really good positions, and and you just think, just hit it, and then it's almost like he gets in these positions and then panics, and he's kind of in two minds as to what to do. And in the end, like, do I pass it? Do I shoot? Do I hit it in that corner? Do I pass it in? Do I smash it? And then he kind of does neither. I really want him to come better, but he does frustrate me, Radoni.
Do you think, Nick, do you think he's more, to me, the more I see him, the more I think he's more of a proper centre midfielder and not that?
Well,
10.
I think he's better there.
Whereas you see Wiles come on yesterday, and straight away, as soon as we play higher up the field, Ben Wiles looks like a different player. Yesterday, he's whacking crosses in. He scored. He's that 10 in it. And now I kind of got both of those guys mixed up a little bit in that I thought Radoni was that guy and Wiles was the centre midfielder. And now we've played that for so long where Radoni's higher than Wiles. And when I see him switch a little bit, I find both of them seem to fit a little bit better. If Radoni's playing as a centre midfielder and creating as much as he does and scoring as many as you're not worried the same. And I think when Wiles is given that freedom further upfield, he's better at it than Radoni for me. But it's got to be in the right game when the ball is up that end of the field. But I don't know what you guys reckon. I just think I'd be working on Radoni being more of a centre midfielder because I don't think you can learn how to finish. I think that's kind of an instinct you have. You're either a goal scorer or you're not. You're either a guy that creates chances, like really good goal scoring chances, or you're not. But I think he could be a really, really good centre midfielder, a bit of a box-to-boxer, a bit like Lewis O'Brien mould kind of thing if we make him into it. And to me, that's where I see his progression. If we could kind of mould him into that kind of shape, I think we'd benefit the most from it because to me, Ben Wiles has just got that extra little bit that helps when it comes to scoring. So I'll be looking at, which is silly, I don't know if Wiles has actually scored for us, but I just mean, he seems more of a danger threat when he's up there than Radoni. It's like you say, Nick, I don't know if it's because he's scared or if he's itchy or snatching at chances or whatever, but he's got something very special about his game, Radoni, but I think it's more in the centre of the field than actually creating.
He got in some great areas on Saturday. I mean, he really did. There was one chance where in the second half where Della held the centre half off and just flicked it around the corner for him. And it was a great little run and move. And he ghosted between two centre midfielders and got to the edge of the box and then thought, shit, I'm going to have to shoot with my right foot. Tried to adjust his body, took a touch. And by the time he took the shot, he'd been closed down. There was another one in the first half where he got the ball. It dropped to him between. There was a midfielder in front of him, and he just did a little Rabona and just dragged it away and left both of them standing. And he burst through on goal, but he took that long. The bloke sided him down. Now it was a foul and a yellow card and a free kick just outside the area. But he just seemed to go on and on and on. He never made a decision. I think if the bloke hadn't fouled him, I think he'd just carry on running at touch. He didn't look like he was ever going to make a decision. And I guess whether that'll come with experience or whether he just hasn't got it, time will only tell, I guess.
I mean, is a part of it? Is he just trying too hard as well? Does he think there's pressure on him to score? Because I always think when he does score a goal, right, he's going to kick on here. You know, that's the goal. He's got his goal, bit of confidence. Now he might go on a bit of a run, and he never seems to do it. He gets a goal, and then it's a while before he gets another. And I don't know. I agree. I would prefer to see him more central, and Wiles, to me, has shown more promise further upfield. And I think he did score quite a few for Rotherham. And he's a sort of player to me where the more game time he gets, the better he'll get as well. We haven't really seen the best of him yet. I think he'll come to the fore more next season, to be honest, when he's bedded in a bit more and he gets more regular game time. But I think he looks more dangerous to me further up the pitch than the Radoni does. But I do like some aspects of Radoni's game, and he's only young, isn't he? What is he, 22? Is he? I don't know. Still young, isn't he? So there's plenty of time yet. There's plenty of time for him to develop. Right, guys, we've waffled on a lot there. Sorry, mate.
He's suffering from playing in different positions. Is that he never seems to be settled in the same position? So poor lad is trying to be out wide one game, and then he'll have to drop back a little bit more. I'm not much of a tactician, as you can probably tell, but that seemed to be something that was prevalent last year, that he was being asked to do lots of different jobs and probably never became good at any single one of them.
I think you're right, Andy, and I think Ben Jackson's another one that suffered from that. But with a coach like Breitenreiter, a guy as experienced as him, that's again succeeded everywhere he's gone, I don't think you could have asked for a better coach to come in and try, and he'll know what he's doing. He'll know exactly if that's a problem. And I think under Breitenreiter, you'll see individuals really kind of progress because he's an experienced guy. I'm sure he'll surround himself with experienced coaches as well. But I think you're right, Andy. I think because he's played left wing a little bit, and then right, he's played all over that. He's played four different positions, I think, for us. And I'm with you. I think that is a big thing that's hampered his settling into owning a role. And hopefully that is it, and he can kind of get his position at number 10 and develop from there. But Jackson's another one, like we said. I think he's another one that I'm quite looking forward to seeing under Breitenreiter for that same reason. But we'll see, won't we? Breitenreiter signed a contract for a couple of years, and I think he'll be for quite a lot of it, if not all of it. So we'll really have a good chance here for people to really bed down into one system. Because how many coaches have they had since they've been here? 5 in 18 months. How many coaches have Radoni been under then since he's been here? Would it be all 4 or 5? Guys, you probably know better than me. What will it be? It's a lot. So yeah, it's not only different positions, it's different systems. And you remember, he's not a guy that's got championship experience. He was from League One and had to step up. So he's had to learn it in a forever changing system and under forever changing managers. Hopefully we've got a bit of stability here that can help him develop and just push on, because he deserves it. There's something there, but the club kind of owe him that, really. And a few of the players there, they owe them some stability to be able to develop themselves.
And the thing is, he always gives his all as well, doesn't he? You know, he never goes missing. I don't think there's ever been a game where we thought, oh, Radoni's he's not looked arsed. He's always been up for it. He's always done his best. Yeah, it might not have been good enough in the final third, but the blokes giving his all, and I guess that's, as fans, that's all you want to see, isn't it? We've got some good young players with potential. We've got Spencer Radoni, Kasumu. I mean, even players like Pat Jones on there, Radulovic. If he can get hold of these players and improve them. I know you've got doubts here about Radulovic, although I think he was ill, wasn't he? So didn't see him again. So. But we've got players with potential there, and if we've got the right guy that can develop them, then that's only going to bode well for the future. What do we think then? Score predictions, guys. We'll wrap this up. Dare I ask what the predictions are going to be for this one? Who's going first? We got it right anyway, didn't we? We got it right against Watford, me and you guys. So
we did, yeah, we did. I think me heart's saying a draw, but I think they'll probably just have a bit too much for us on the day. I think if Watford had scored one or t'other of those two really good chances they had after we let the goal in and we wobbled for 10 minutes, it might have been a different conversation. So I just can't see Leeds not being that ruthless. So I think my heart's saying 1-1, but my head's saying 2-0 Leeds.
I'll say 2-1, but I'm not saying which way.
All right, I'll go 1. I'll go 1-1. I think, like I say, the midweek game for them will tire them out, and we'll be pressing high, and we'll be high. We'll be ready to go. I think 1-1. I think, which will be like a moral victory. And do you know what? I hope they come out after the game, Big Kev and Dave going, "Oh, it might have been a 1-1 draw, but we won. We won this one." Just
the model high ground is ours.
Just a real shit stir. It'd be great, wouldn't it? Then, because if they do get promoted, they can't come back at us for ages. They can come say, "Yeah, well, we don't care. We won that one. We had a moral 1-1 victory."
If they go up, they'll be straight down again. 3-2 Town. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I know that much because I think there's going to be lots of chances either end. I think we're going to press high. That's going to open space for them. But I think, as you say, I don't think they cope well with pace at the back, and I think there'll be chances for us, particularly on set pieces if Sorba's playing, and we've got the likes of Hellick back. So I think a 90th Hellick goal from a corner and Breitenreiter running and sliding on his knees in front of the south stand and having a punch up with Farker at the end. Just
class, humility, respect.
Yeah.
Give him Farker the rod as he slides past on his knees.
Yeah.
We can all dream, can't we? It'll probably end up 5-0 Leeds, but anyway, it's the old that kills you. So I'm going to go with 3-2. I do think there will be goals in this game. I don't think it'll be a low-scoring game. I just don't we're on the right end of it. But as ever, guys, thank you so much. We've done well over an hour there, so plenty to digest. And well, thank you all for listening, guys. It's been a pleasure as always. Thank you for supporting us, and thanks for your comments as ever. Hopefully, we'll get the result we want against Leeds. It's going to be a cracking atmosphere no matter what. So, yeah, get down there and support the boys, and yeah, we'll meet up after. Hopefully, it's going to be celebrations rather than group therapy. But we'll see you all soon. Bye for now, guys. Take care. Bye.